What if your boss offered you free cash every year and you quietly said no thanks? It sounds absurd. Nobody would ever turn down free money handed right to them. And yet, 1 in 4 workers does exactly that, every single paycheck. They leave a stack of free retirement money sitting right there on the table. Over a career, that ignored stack can quietly grow to $250,000. $250,000 left behind not through bad luck but through habit. That is a paid-off house or a decade of comfortable retirement, simply forfeited. Meet Gabriella. She is 32, hardworking, careful, and she is leaving it on the table. Not because she is careless, because nobody ever clearly explained the free money to her. She sees the deduction on her paycheck but never realized what she was walking past. She is not alone. Roughly 1 in 4 workers is doing the exact same thing. Careful, hard-working people, quietly walking past money meant specifically for them. This is the money on the table, and most of it is embarrassingly easy to claim. It is not a loophole or a scheme, it is money already set aside with your name on it. So today we find every dollar you are quietly leaving behind, and we go claim it. We are going to walk through 4 separate tables, each holding real money. The employer match, tax-free accounts, social security timing, and hidden fees. Any one of them can be worth a fortune. Together they can reshape your whole retirement, and not one of them asks you to work a single extra hour to claim it. None of it requires a raise, a windfall, or a single ounce of extra luck. Because the richest move in retirement is often just taking what is already yours. Picture Gabriella on payday, glancing at her deposit and feeling responsible and safe. She has no idea a silent stack of free money just slipped past her again. Multiply that quiet miss across every payday for decades and it becomes enormous. That is the strange cruelty of this. The loss is invisible until it is gigantic. First, understand why this money hides in plain sight for so many people. The biggest stack on the table is your employer's retirement match. Many companies promise to match part of what you save into your retirement plan. You put in $1, and your employer drops another 50 cents or even a full dollar on top. That is an instant 50 to 100% return before the market does anything. No stock, no fund, no clever trade on earth reliably pays you that on day one. It is quite literally the best guaranteed return available to almost any worker. And yet Americans leave around $24 billion of it unclaimed each year. $24 billion in free money, quietly left on the table year after year. The typical worker who misses out leaves about $1,300 behind annually. $1,300 a year does not sound like a catastrophe. That is the trap. Because that small yearly stack compounded over a career becomes a small fortune. Consider what $1,300 a year actually becomes over a working life. The study itself estimated over $40,000 lost in just 20 years. Stretch that across a full career, and the number climbs into the hundreds of thousands. And the workers most likely to miss out are the ones who can least afford to. Younger and lower-paid workers leave this money behind at far higher rates. So this is not about earning more. It is about stopping the quiet leak of what you already earn. No shame here either. The system is confusing on purpose, and nobody taught this in school. So let us keep it fair and specific. Here is exactly what the data shows. Think of it like a coupon for 50% off taped to your own front door. Every day you walk past it without tearing it off, that discount simply expires. The employer match works the same way. Each unclaimed year is gone for good. You cannot go back and claim last year's match. That door closes quietly behind you. Which is exactly why noticing this today, right now, matters so much. To see the money clearly, let us follow Gabriella against a coworker. Meet Wendy. Gabriella and Wendy do the same job at the same company for the same salary. Both earn about $60,000 a year. Both have the same benefits available. Their employer offers to match 50% of contributions, up to 6% of pay. In plain terms, if each saves 6%, the company adds 3% for free. On a $60,000 salary, that free 3% is $1,800 a year. Wendy contributes the full 6%, so she grabs every dollar of that match. Gabriella, nervous about her budget, only contributes 2% of her pay. So Gabriella captures only a third of the match and leaves the other 2/3 behind. She walks past roughly $1,200 of free money every single year. Here is the cruel irony of her caution. She is being careful in the wrong direction. She guards small dollars today while the biggest dollars quietly walk out the door. It feels responsible. She is protecting her tight monthly budget after all. But she is protecting a few dollars today by surrendering a fortune tomorrow. Meet their younger coworker, Reggie, who skips the plan entirely to feel richer now. Reggie leaves the entire match on the table, chasing a slightly bigger paycheck today. We will follow all three across their careers, and the gap will become staggering. Same job, same pay, same offer. Only one quietly claims everything that is hers. By retirement, that single habit separates the three of them by a small fortune. Reggie, watching all this, finally asked the question everyone secretly wonders. If this money is free and real, why does almost nobody actually take it? The answer is not greed or laziness, it is confusion, fear, and inertia. The forms look intimidating, the jargon is dense, and doing nothing feels safest. So people quietly default to inaction, and inaction is what leaves the money behind. Beat the confusion just once, and the money is suddenly permanently yours. The gap between Gabriella and Wendy is not talent, luck, or ambition. It is one quiet decision Wendy made on her first day and never had to make again. A single good default, chosen once, quietly compounds for an entire career. So let us open the tables one by one and count what is sitting there for you. Before we open the tables, Gabriella did one wise thing worth pausing on. She booked one short session with a financial advisor to review her benefits. Within minutes, he found thousands of dollars a year she was simply not claiming. Gabriella was stunned. She had assumed her paperwork was already fully optimized. Most people, it turns out, are leaving several stacks behind at the very same time. Table 1, and the biggest of all, is the employer match itself. Let us be clear about how absurd this deal actually is in your favor. A 50% match means the moment you invest $1, it is instantly worth $1.50. Your money grows 50% before the market moves a single inch. Professional investors celebrate wildly for a good 10% year in the market. The match hands you 5 times that, guaranteed, on the very first day. There is simply no legal, safe investment on earth that competes with a full match. So skipping the match is like refusing a guaranteed 50% raise on that money. That is why capturing the full match is always the first move you make. Think of the match as a hurdle you simply must clear before anything else. Once you have grabbed every free matching dollar, then you optimize everything else. But nothing, absolutely nothing, comes before capturing that guaranteed free money. Before paying extra on low-rate debt, before any other investing, you grab the match. Let us put the match up against the thing people fear most, a market crash. Even if the market fell 20% the day after you invested, watch what happens. Your 50% match cushions the blow so heavily you are still ahead. The match is a head start so large the market has to work hard just to erase it. That is why skipping it to avoid market risk is a profound misunderstanding. You are refusing a guaranteed cushion because you are afraid of a temporary dip. It is the closest thing to free money the financial world will ever legally offer you. Now let us put real specific dollars on what Gabriella is leaving behind. By under-contributing, Gabriella misses about $1,200 of match each year. If she captured the full match, she would add $1,800 free dollars annually. Now watch what that free $1,800 a year does over a full career. Invested at a 7% average return over 35 years, it compounds. That free match alone grows to nearly $250,000. $250,000 from money Gabriella never had to earn herself. It was always sitting there, offered freely, just waiting for her to pick it up. And this assumes a modest 3% match on an ordinary $60,000 salary. On a higher salary or a more generous match, the number climbs even higher. So for many people, the money left on the table is even bigger than $250,000. That is the $250,000 in the title, and it is very real. Picture Gabriella at 65, looking back on the choice she almost never made. One small adjustment in her 30s quietly funded a quarter of her retirement. She did not work harder or earn more to get it. She simply stopped declining it. And remember, that is just from one table. There are several more still to check. Let us also watch the gap between Gabriella and Wendy grow year by year. In the first year, Wendy is only a few $100s ahead, barely noticeable. By year 10, that small yearly gap has quietly compounded into thousands. By the time they retire, Wendy is a full $250,000 ahead. Same desk, same paycheck, same 40 years of work. One simply claimed her match. That is not a story about investing skill. It is a story about a single checkbox. Run the numbers, and the free match is almost always the highest value dollar you can claim. So how does Gabriella actually claim her full stack? It is refreshingly simple. Step 1. Find your plan's match formula. It is usually one short line in your benefits. Step 2. Set your contribution to at least the percentage needed for the full match. For Gabriella, moving from 2% to 6% captures every free dollar. She worried that jump would wreck her budget. The real cost surprised her. Saving 4% more of her pay only reduced her take-home by roughly 3%. The government effectively chipped in part of her contribution through the tax break. So she captured $1,800 free dollars for a take-home cut of about $15 a week. Because contributions are pre-tax, her take-home pay dropped far less than she feared. The tax break quietly softened the blow, so her paycheck barely flinched. A small, almost painless change unlocked a $250,000 stack of free money. Step 3. Turn on automatic annual increases if your plan offers them. Each year it nudges your savings up by 1%, so you quietly grow without noticing. Gabriella set it up in about 15 minutes and then simply never touched it again. Reggie watched Gabriella do it and finally asked how to set up his own. He had assumed retirement plans were complicated, boring, and only for older people. But he is the one with the most to gain because his money has the most time. For a young worker, capturing the match early is almost unfairly powerful. Reggie set his contribution to the full match that very afternoon. 15 minutes of paperwork in exchange for $250,000. Table 2 is quieter, but almost as valuable. Unused tax-advantaged space. Taxes are one of the largest expenses you will ever pay in your entire life. So legally shrinking that bill is one of the most powerful moves available to you. The government literally rewards you for saving if you use the right accounts. The government offers special accounts where your money grows without being taxed. Most people leave huge amounts of that tax-free room completely unused every year. The quiet champion of these is the Health Savings Account, or HSA. If you qualify, the HSA is the only account with a rare triple tax advantage. Money goes in tax-free, grows tax-free, and comes out tax-free for medical costs. Most people think an HSA is only for spending on this year's doctor visits, but you can invest the money inside it and let it grow for decades, untouched. That transforms a simple medical account into a stealth retirement powerhouse. No other account gives you all three of those breaks at the same time. And since retirees face enormous medical bills, that tax-free health money is gold. Gabriella had an HSA option for years and never funded a single dollar into it. The Roth account is the second quiet table, growing money tax-free for retirement. You pay tax now, then never again, and decades of growth come out completely tax-free. Here is a trick the wealthy love. Treat the HSA as a stealth retirement account. Pay small medical bills out of pocket now, and let the HSA quietly grow for decades. Save your receipts, and you can reimburse yourself tax-free years later. It quietly becomes one of the most powerful accounts in your entire portfolio. Gabriella started funding hers immediately, furious she had ignored it for years. Filling even part of these accounts each year quietly saves you a small fortune in taxes. Table 3 appears much later, but it may be the largest stack of them all. The timing of your Social Security claim leaves enormous money on the table. Claim it too early, and you permanently shrink your check for the rest of your life. For every year you wait past full retirement age, your benefit grows about 8%. Wait until 70, and your monthly check can be roughly 24% larger. That larger check is inflation-protected income that keeps arriving as long as you live. Married couples leave even more behind by ignoring spousal and survivor benefits. A surviving spouse can often step up to the larger of the two benefits for life. Often the higher earner delays to grow the benefit a survivor will one day inherit. It is a way to protect whichever partner ends up living alone the longest. These are exactly the decisions people default through without ever realizing the cost. Coordinating who claims when can add tens of thousands of dollars to a household. Robert always reminds people this stack is easy to overlook because it arrives late. It feels decades away in your 30s, so nobody plans for it early. But the decisions that unlock it are often made years before you ever claim. Even knowing it exists now puts you ahead of most people who never think about it. Yet most people claim on autopilot and quietly forfeit that entire stack. Think about it. Delaying just a few years can raise your check by nearly a quarter. Over a long retirement, that difference can total well over $100,000. For a healthy person expecting a long life, waiting is often the obvious move. Yet the majority claim as early as possible, leaving that larger check behind. It feels safe to grab it early, but safe feeling and smart are not always the same. A little planning here can be worth more than years of careful saving elsewhere. The last table is different. It is money being quietly taken off your plate. High investment fees silently remove a slice of your money every single year. A 1% fee sounds tiny, but over decades it can cost you 6 figures. It is compounding running in reverse, working quietly against you instead of for you. Gabriella found her old plan was charging her far more than a simple index fund. By switching to low-cost funds, she stopped a quiet leak worth tens of thousands. Claiming money on the table is not only about grabbing free stacks. Fees are sneaky because they are quiet, automatic, and disguised as normal. Nobody sends you a bill. The money simply vanishes from your balance every year. Cutting a 1% fee to near zero can quietly hand back 6 figures over time. Gabriella never felt those fees leaving, which is exactly why they were so dangerous. Once she saw the leak, sealing it took a single afternoon and one simple swap. A dollar saved from a fee is exactly as valuable as a free dollar claimed. Both quietly add to the same pile and both compound the very same way. So a full sweep of your tables plugs the leaks and grabs the free stacks at once. It is also about stopping the small, silent leaks draining what is already yours. Now here is the twist that reframes this entire idea of leaving money behind. Notice that none of this money required you to earn a single extra dollar. You did not need a raise, a side hustle, or a lucky investment to capture any of it. It was all already there, already offered, already sitting with your name on it. We spend our whole lives being told wealth means working harder and earning more. But some of the biggest money you will ever get is money you simply stop refusing. Here is what actually happens to people who ignore these tables for a full career. They work just as hard as everyone else and quietly retire with far less. Not because they earned less, but because they claimed less of what was offered. Reggie asked Robert what to do if his job offers no match at all. Robert smiled. Even then, the other 3 tables are still fully yours to claim. Tax-free accounts, smart Social Security timing, and low fees work for everyone. The match is the biggest table, but it is never the only one on offer. The saddest part is how avoidable it all is. The money was never hidden. Imagine walking past a $100 bill on the sidewalk every single day. You would never do that on purpose. Yet with retirement money, we do it for years. The only difference is that the retirement bill is far bigger and far quieter. Once you learn to see it, you cannot help but stop and pick it up. It sat in plain sight the whole time, waiting for a 15-minute decision. Wealthy families teach this early. They obsess over claiming every dollar offered. It is not because they are greedy. It is because they understand these stacks compound. Here is the line worth remembering. Free money declined is still money lost. Saying yes to free money is the rarest kind of easy decision there is. There is no downside, no risk, and no catch, only a stack you finally pick up. You do not have to be brilliant or rich to win this. You just have to say yes. We celebrate people who hustle for a raise and ignore people who quietly claim smarter. But the quiet claimer often ends up with far more for a fraction of the stress. This is not an argument against ambition. Earn more if you can, absolutely. Just never let the chase for more blind you to the money already on your table. The richest habit is not earning more. It is refusing to leave your own money behind. Think about how strange and freeing that realization actually is. A higher earner who ignores these tables can easily retire poorer than you. Income is what you make. Wealth is what you keep and claim along the way. 2 people can earn the same and end up in completely different places. The difference is almost never talent. It is simply who claimed what was offered. There is one more quiet gift hidden inside claiming what is already yours. It costs you almost nothing today, which means anyone can do it, at any income. Earning more takes years of effort. Claiming your money takes one clear afternoon. That is what makes this the most accessible wealth move most people never make. Claim the tables, and you quietly out-retire people who earned far more than you. So let us turn all of this into a simple checklist you can run this very week. Gabriella even walked into her bank to move her old accounts into one simple place. Consolidating made it easy to see every table at once, with nothing hidden. You cannot claim money you cannot even see, so getting organized comes first. First, find your employer match formula and contribute at least enough to get all of it. This one move is almost always the highest return thing you will ever do with money. If you do only one thing from this entire video, please make it this one. Second, use your tax-advantaged accounts, especially an HSA if you qualify. You do not have to max them out. Even a modest, steady habit adds up powerfully. Automate these too, so the whole system quietly runs without your willpower. Even small, steady contributions to those accounts quietly save you real money in taxes. Third, when the time comes, plan your Social Security claim instead of defaulting. A single afternoon of planning there can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Look for the word expense ratio and aim for funds well under 0.5%. Fourth, check your investment fees and switch to low-cost funds where you can. Do these 4 things once and they quietly pay you for the rest of your life. None of these steps require you to earn $1 extra at your job. They simply require you to stop walking past money that already belongs to you. Gabriella ran this checklist and reclaimed a projected $250,000 for her future. Make the decision that matches your reality, not someone else's sales pitch. Share this with someone you care about who might be leaving their match behind. A 2-minute conversation could genuinely be worth 6 figures to someone you love. If this helped you spot money you have been leaving behind, subscribe to Robert Money Logic. Hit the notification bell so the next breakdown reaches you at exactly the right moment. We break down the hidden math behind the financial decisions you face every single day. You have earned every dollar these tables hold. All that remains is to claim it. The $250,000 on your table was never out of reach. It was only unclaimed. Do not let another paycheck slip by leaving free money on the table. Open your benefits portal this week and check that one match line first. It may be the single highest paid 15 minutes of your entire life. Every table you claim quietly moves you toward the retirement you actually want. So go claim what is already yours. Your future self is waiting to thank you.